Do you really believe that aging is synonymous with putting out the fire of life? For that is where the deception lies, and the danger. Medicine is knocking on the door of prejudice with a warning that will mess with your head, and your body too. The absence of sex in old age is not just a normal phase of life. It is a silent trigger for physical and emotional illness. And if you think this is an exaggeration, prepare to be surprised. Imagine sleeping poorly, waking up tired, feeling your joints locking, your memory failing, your heart racing for nothing. And to think that all this is just age stuff. What if I told you that a lot of this could be avoided with an active sex life even after 60? This isn't cheap polemics. It's cutting-edge science. The human body does not retire from the need for intimacy. He just screams louder when he is ignored. This video will reveal truths that no one has told you, because most are still embarrassed to talk about it. But you won't just understand what happens to your body when you lack sex. You'll discover what can change in your cardiovascular health, your sleep, your mind, your immune system, your self-esteem, all connected in a surprising way. Are you ready to question what you've always believed about aging? Intimacy in old age, not a luxury. It's a necessity. Most people believe that sex in old age is a thing of the past, a dangerous mistake. The truth, which few dare to say out loud, is that emotional and physical intimacy not only remain relevant, they are vital. When an elderly person abandons this part of life, it opens the door to a quiet decline. It's not just missing a touch, it's the whole body saying, "I need this to stay alive." And no, it's not an exaggeration. This is pure physiology. People who maintain an active, intimate life after 60 keep more than the heat in bed. They keep warmth in the heart. They have firmer self-esteem and self-confidence, feel valued, connected with their partner, and more integrated into their own identity. Have you ever noticed how an elderly person with a twinkle in their eyes usually has a fuller life? That brightness doesn't always come from the sun. It comes from the touch, the look, the emotional surrender that sex brings. When that flame goes out, something inside also begins to cool. Mood drops, mood fluctuates, and mental health starts screaming. It's like exchanging a hug for a handshake. The body even tolerates it but misses what it really nourishes. And speaking of nutrition, do you know which other organ feeds on sex as if it were a daily vitamin? The heart. But about that, let's talk right away. Sex is good for the heart, like a cardiovascular workout. The heart, that tireless engine that beats silently within us, also has its own desires. And guess what? Sex in old age is one of his favorite fuels. It's not magazine talk. It's solid science. Physical intimacy acts as a mini session of cardiovascular exercise. The heart rate goes up, circulation improves, and the arteries thank you. It's as if nature had created a private gym, only in the bedroom. By maintaining intimate relationships, seniors promote cardiovascular health in surprisingly effective ways. It's like taking a natural remedy that regulates blood pressure, cleans the paths of the arteries, and even releases feel-good hormones such as oxytocin and endorphins, which, by the way, also protect against depression and anxiety. See how it all connects? Science does not lie, and the results are more visible than many think. Less fatigue, more spirits, and heart exams with enviable numbers. Now, if you think you're past the age for this, think about it. A 70-year-old couple with a light walking routine and regular intimacy has a lower risk of heart attack than many sedentary 40-year-olds. Can you believe it? So the next time your heart races, do not be afraid. It could just be him saying, "Keep it up. This is doing me good." But the body, as you'll see next, also wants to enter into this conversation. Sex keeps muscles and joints in shape. Few people realize it, but sex in old age is one of the most complete and underrated exercises that exist. And no, this is no joke. Controlled movements, rhythm, breathing, physical effort. All of this activates the muscles in a natural and safe way. While many elderly people squeeze into gyms or complain of back pain due to lack of stretching, the body asks for something more human: touch, warmth, and affective movement. Regular sexual practice requires mobility and muscle tone, which helps maintain more flexible joints and stronger muscles. It is practically an antidote to a sedentary lifestyle in old age. Have you ever noticed how active seniors have an upright posture, firm step, and fewer falls? It's not luck. It's biology well cared for. What's more, when there is pleasure involved, the body learns to move more confidently, which reinforces not only the physique but also self-esteem and self-confidence. Oh, and let's not forget the psychological factor. When one feels that one is still wanted and physically capable, it activates a bolder, lighter way of living. Do you know that sparkle in your eyes? The energy to get out of bed in a good mood? Much of this comes from the way the person feels inside their own body. And speaking of body, he doesn't stop there. The brain also enters the dance. And that's what we're going to dive into now. The brain also needs intimacy. Anyone who thinks that the brain ages only because of a lack of reading or crossword puzzles is ignoring one of the greatest secrets of mental vitality: sex in old age. Yes, sir. And it is not an exaggeration. During emotional and physical intimacy, the brain releases a veritable cascade of feel-good hormones: dopamine, oxytocin, endorphins, that strengthen memory, boost mood, and keep brain function sharp. This is not just pleasure, it's neuroscience. Imagine an elderly person who no longer feels stimulated, who lives on autopilot. Now imagine another, who maintains a connection with his partner, feels desired and still lives moments of physical affection. Which of the two do you think will find it easier to remember where you left your glasses? Or that will feel more excited to talk, laugh, live? The brain reacts to intimacy as if it were an internal youth bath. And there's more. The absence of this natural activity contributes to cognitive decline, making room for anxiety, insecurity, and even depression. It's as if the brain says, "Give me stimulation, or I'll start turning off the lights." Keeping your mind alive doesn't just depend on crossword puzzles or self-help books. It depends on human warmth, exchange, touch, and speaking of exchange, it has a type of benefit that most people don't even imagine is linked to sex. He shows up every night, around 11 p.m. Sex life directly influences the quality of sleep. Now pay attention. You can drink chamomile tea, count sheep, or even download an app with sounds of nature. But if you're ignoring the power that sex in old age has on sleep quality, you may be missing the most effective and pleasurable recipe for sleeping like an angel. When there is emotional intimacy and physical touch, the body releases prolactin and oxytocin, two feel-good hormones that put the body in rest mode. People who maintain an active, intimate life tend to fall asleep faster, wake up less during the night, and feel more rested in the morning. It's as if the body said, "You gave me what I needed. Now let me take care of the rest." And the most curious thing is that many elderly people who resort to sleeping pills are, in fact, with a deficit of affection, connection with their partner, and physical stimulation. Do you see how everything intertwines? In addition, restorative sleep plays a vital role in preventing diseases, muscle recovery, emotional balance, and even strengthening the immune system. In other words, Not sleeping well is not just tiredness. It is an alert from the body that something deeper is out of place. And while we're on the subject of inner strength, let's see what intimacy does with something even more invisible, but just as powerful: self-esteem. Intimacy strengthens self-esteem. Do you know that feeling of being alive, of still being seen, noticed, desired? This has no age. And emotional intimacy, when preserved in old age, is one of the greatest sources of self-esteem and self-confidence that someone can have. When an elderly person maintains an active, intimate life, he not only feels more valued, he values himself. And that changes everything, from the way you dress to the way you look in the mirror. It is common to see elderly people who, when they lose this connection with their partner, gradually wither. And it's not just in their smile. The gaze loses its shine, the posture changes, the gait becomes slower. It seems like a small thing, but it is profound. The absence of affection, touch, physical recognition directly affects the way a person sees himself. And when self-perception collapses, everything else rocks: mental health, motivation, even the immune system. On the other hand, when this intimacy is cultivated, even if in a lighter or more spaced way, it becomes a daily reminder: I'm still here. I still have value. The touch becomes affirmation. The hug becomes fuel. And this translates into attitudes: the desire to leave the house, to move, to live. And speaking of living well, there is a part of the body that feels all this faster than we imagine. Let's talk now about how sex actually touches our body's defenses. Sex strengthens the immune system. Look how curious. While many people stuff themselves with vitamins, green juices, and 1,000 milligram capsules of hope, they ignore one of the most pleasurable and natural ways to strengthen the immune system: sex in old age. Yes, the intimate act, when lived with emotional connection, activates processes in the body that increase the production of immunoglobulin A and G, those silent defenders that fight flu, inflammation, and infection. The science is clear: the more active and healthy the intimate life, the better the immune response. And you know what's most interesting? These effects are accompanied by a bonus: hormonal stabilization, less cellular inflammation, and even faster physical recovery. It's the kind of medicine you can't buy at the pharmacy. It starts with your partner's gaze, goes through touch, and ends with a long, meaningful hug. And if you still think that all this is just a detail, observe how elderly people with an active sex life are less sick, have more energy, and do not live according to laboratory tests. Their bodies respond with gratitude. But if this system of defense is strengthened with pleasure, what happens to the mind when this pleasure is left aside? Therein lies a more invisible danger: the weight of stress and anxiety. Let's look at this now. Lack of sex exacerbates stress and anxiety. Few people understand that the body speaks, and when intimacy disappears from life, especially in old age, he starts screaming, with stress, insomnia, irritability, and anxiety that grows for no apparent reason. Sex in old age is not just about pleasure, it's about chemical balance. When this experience is lived with connection, it triggers a shower of serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin that literally calms the nervous system. It's like a natural tranquilizer, but without a package insert, without side effects. Now think with me. How many elderly people do you know who live tense, suspicious, accelerated aimlessly? Many of them just need touch, affection, a true connection with their partner, something that brings them to the present. This is where the restorative power of emotional intimacy comes in. It's not soap opera talk. its physiology and neuroscience. And most importantly, it is possible to access this even after 60, 70, or 80. You just need to want to break the cycle of emotional sedentary lifestyle. And this cycle, once broken, transforms the way a person lives and feels the world. The pressure in the chest relieves, the smile returns, and the thought ceases to be a whirlwind. Intimacy, when lived with truth, becomes an anchor in the midst of chaos. But what is most impressive is that all of this, from cardiovascular health to mental health, connects like cogs in the same engine. An engine that, over time, needs maintenance. But it still has a lot of fuel. Now that you've seen all of that, let's go back to the beginning and create the intro. The moment of truth has come. After everything you've learned here, the question that remains is, will you continue to ignore what your body and mind are asking for? Or will you act courageously and take care of your intimacy, as if you were taking care of your own health? Because yes, it's all connected. Your quality of sleep, your immunity, your self-esteem, your joy of living, even his memory. And all of this may be waiting for a simple reconnection step. So, will you continue to think that sex in old age is taboo? Or will you see it as the powerful tool of well-being that it really is? How many more years will you let go feeling that something is missing? Not knowing that it might be exactly what we are talking about here today? The decision is yours, but the change, you can start now. And it doesn't have to be gigantic. A longer touch, a sincere conversation, a gesture of affection. All of this is worth as a new beginning. If you like this content, type reconnection in the comments. Now, if you don't like it, type discomfort, so I can improve the next content for you. And of course, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here we talk about health with truth, lightness, and courage. Because aging well is not utopia, it is choice.